So it makes it pretty clear why we started doing this, doesn't it? God, thanks for your words. Thanks for your wisdom. And really words of wisdom to the younger generation as well. Our next presenter will be Danny Day. Danny was at McNairy Central High School from 1981 until 2014. He is the school's all-time leader in wins as baseball coach and has the longest tenure as athletic director, 22 years. He has coached every sport the school offers, with the exception of volleyball and soccer. He spent 42 years in the McNairy County School System as coach, teacher, and athletic director. Coach Day spent 14 seasons as baseball coach with district titles in 84, 85, and 87. He is the all-time leader in wins as a Bobcat coach in 2004. During his tenure as baseball coach, Danny took his team to a school record 5 straight trips to the region tournament. He has carried McNairy Central golf teams to the state tournament, was an assistant on boys and girls basketball teams that played the state tournaments. Danny is a proud American. He served 27 years in the Tennessee Army National Guard before retiring in 1999. Let's please give a warm McNairy Central welcome to Coach Danny Day.
Thank you very much, Mike. It is an honor to present this award tonight. Had some people ask me how long I've known Coach Horton. Took me a while to remember since it's been so many years ago. As I recall, I came in 1980 out here as the 9th grade coach, assistant coach, and took over from Coach Webb. Gave up the baseball job. So that was in 80, and that makes it about 35 years, I guess. We're going back a little farther. My father-in-law and James's father-in-law were real good friends, and they did a lot of going yard sales or Red Bay, Alabama shopping, doing things like that. So I probably met James back probably in the late 70s. So it's probably been more than 35 years. I think we all know that James played basketball and what kind of player he was at Raymond. He was an all-state player there. He led Raymond to 2 straight state tournaments. And during his senior season, Raymond was 29-0 and ranked number 1 in the state. After high school, he went on to play at Memphis State. And there again, I think I had the opportunity, growing up in Memphis, being a teenager, to see James play. Of course, I didn't realize it at that time because I did not know James. But my parents had season tickets to Memphis State, and I'm sure, and I know we did because James and I talked about it. Hunter Beckman, some of those guys that played at Memphis then. So I've probably known James maybe close to 45 years, maybe, just to know him personally. Coach came to Central in 1980 from Corinth. He came from a very successful coaching record down there, coaching tenure. He was all-time wins leader at that time. So why would Coach Horton leave a successful program? A lot of coaches leave because they lack talent. They run out of players. Some might leave because of losing records or whatever. The coach left for 2 reasons. One, he wanted to come back to McNairy County, his home, and coach. And second, was he wanted to be able to coach Stacy, his son, when he entered high school from Raymond. Now, I might let Stacy comment on how it is to play for your father, because I know I've gone through that in my family where your sons and daughters are playing for a coach. It's very tough. But I know James handled that situation very well with Stacy, and I'll let Stacy, like I said, comment on that. Coaches, players, they were student athletes. They worked hard in the classroom, they were well prepared, and they were disciplined. And like the word says, student athletes, they were students first and they displayed those characteristics and carried them over into the gym. And that's how he wanted it to be done. He also believed in conditioning. I know Richie's here, Clay Farm. There were a lot of running back then, a lot of full court work. And I know they didn't like it. Richie probably would tell you that. But it paid off in the long run of those games when you're playing 2 or 3 games a week. And back in the 80s, there was not much slow-down basketball being played. There was a lot of full court presses going on and things like that. So his players were definitely in shape each week. Coach came to Central, like I said, in 1980 and coached till 87. He won district championships 4 times in those 7 years. He won a region championship, a sub-state game, and a state tournament appearance. These are all firsts for our boys staying at Central. His record was 141 wins and 56 losses. And that was the all-time wins leader at that time. He was District Coach of the Year twice. There were a lot of big wins and highlights back during Coach's years. And I think all of you that went through those years in the 80s remember the gym, how full it was when we played the Adamsvilles, the Chester counties, the Horton counties. You can remember Doley down there at the end, jumping up and down on the road, even following us on the road. But there's one win that stood out in particular, and again, I think Richie and some of his players would agree to this, and that was in March of 1983. It was a sub-state game with Hume Fall. And what made that so particular was the year before we had lost to Hume Fall in Nashville in a sub-state game to keep us from going to the state. So this was a little revenge that we needed. And I think we were always prepared, but I think that week in particular was a hard-working week. Seemed like a lot more running going on. And that night, when I got here about an hour and a half before the game, hour and 15 minutes, came in that door back there, the gym was already packed. People were standing in the halls. I had to sort of, feel my way through just to get back to the coaching office. But I can't remember all, it's been so long ago, I can't remember details of the game. But I do remember that was one of the biggest wins, I think, Coach Horton's career and mine, and the players too. James retired from coaching in 1987. He remained at Central as an assistant principal and athletic director. In these administrative positions, he supported his teachers 100% and his coaches. And I thank James for his help and support when I took over the AD position in '91. James was respected by many people, including in and out of school, but including coaches that coached against him. Because they knew when they called a McNairy Central team coached by James Horton, they were in for a fight that night. It was a game that was going to be played hard for 48 minutes. And that's one reason I think they didn't look forward to coming to McNairy Central to play us. I try to think of some things about James that was funny. I'm not a joke teller. James wasn't a joke teller. There's a few things, and maybe the players can tell on him some. But, James would always take a nap on a bus on the way to the game. Be a short one. I know he was not the kind of coach that stood up on the sidelines and had coaching boxes, but James always coached from the bench. Is yelling at officials or getting on his players from the bench area. And I took a lot of elbows sitting next to him because, I sort of wanted James to get up and walk some nights and not catch all this right here when he's yelling at an official or getting on Stacy or Richie or somebody. But James was a true friend. He's missed very much. He was a true friend to many people. He would always help people in need. One of his friends is sitting right back here in a wheelchair, and that's Stacy Null. And Stacy could tell you, and Darlene, his mother, would tell you, that I can remember the day that James had Stacy in the gym, made him get out of that wheelchair and walk. Remember that, Stacy? Yeah, he couldn't maybe walk very far, but James made him every time he saw him, right in that gym, and made him walk. And that was something. Made him shoot the basketball. Really thought a lot of that. I can't stop without talking about, James was not a hunter, away from athletics at school. He was not a hunter, a fisher, a golfer like me. But he had a lawnmower service, and I hope Stacy don't mind and Ellen don't mind me just telling a little on this, and Joe, because I know I took advantage of him on my mowers, and maybe some of you in here had to use him a lot. But, and I know I would call Ellen a bunch and ask her, is the boy there? Well, yeah, but he's down in the shed working on lawnmowers. So, you know, if you wanted to find James, you found him in the lawnmower shed. Like I said, I miss him, and I'm sure a lot of us miss him, but he won't be forgotten. Because I think in a few weeks, when basketball starts up, and people are walking in and out of here, they're going to say or reminisce or whatever about the times they sat in that gym and watched McNairy Central play in those middle 80 years, and saw the kind of ball that was being played, and bring up James Horton's name. James was a true friend, like I said, to me and many other people. He loved coaching and working with kids. He loved his family, and he also loved his church. So it's my great honor that I present a plaque to Stacy and Ellen for James' induction into the McNairy Central Sports Hall of Fame.
I remember the day that Dad told me we were coming to McNairy Central. I was pitching baseball with him in the backyard, and he said, "I've got to ask you a question." I said, "Okay." You never knew what he was going to come up with. He said, "I need to know, do you want to be a Corinth Warrior or do you want to be a McNairy Central Bobcat?" And there was never any question in my mind. I said, "I'm going to be a Bobcat." He said, "Well, I guess I'll have to be too." And so he went on to explain to me that he had interviewed for this position and that would be, he decided he would come at that time. Me and Mom were talking the other day, and she said that she felt like he was always at home when he was here. I think that's true. I think the best years of his career were spent right here at the school. He felt so close to so many of you, worked with so many of you. And I remember when he passed, Richie, a quote from him in the paper, talked about the conditioning that he did. You might go up against a team who was more talented than you were, but I can promise you they would not be in any better condition than you were. But the thing I think that most of the people who played for him might remember is he really cared for you as an individual. He cared for the kids beyond just being their coach. I can remember him talking years later about
players who played for him, what they had done with their life, and was so proud of them for what they had become, not because of their accomplishments in athletics, but their accomplishments in life. Coach Day said a few minutes ago, he said what it was like to play for your dad. It was rough. Most of you who played for him, when we got back to the school, you got away from him. I'd go home with him. So it didn't end when we would leave school. But one thing I tried to think of what my dad would say if he was here today. I think he would be more than thankful. But one thing I think that he would bring out to everyone is this. Behind every good coach, there's a very good woman. And I think he would have recognized his wife, who spent many times at home by herself with a little child, and spent many times following him around on a basketball bus and going to trips here and there and sitting by herself sometimes. So I think he would have said thank you to her too for what she did for him all the years that she stood behind him. I would like to say personally thank you for inducting him into this Hall of Fame. I know it was very important to him, and he was glad that he was able to touch your life in one way or the other. Thank you very much.
James Arthur Horton was a charter member of the McNairy Central Sports Hall of Fame and very involved in making all the necessary preparations to make this happen. Our next presenter is Coach Jerry Lott. Coach Lott is the girls basketball coach, has won district titles 8 times, 2 region championships, 7 sub-state appearances, and 3 trips to the state tournament. Coach Lott has been named District Coach of the Year 12 times. And in 2004 and 2005, was named TSSAA AF Bridges Coach of the Year. Coach Lott's girls basketball teams have, in 23 seasons, won at least 20 games. 52 of his players have gone on to play college basketball. His overall record at McNairy Central is 769 wins and 310 losses. Coach Lott has also coached soccer and has led his teams to 2 region championships and 1 sub-state title and state tournament appearances in 2005 and 2010. I call him the Wizard of the Roundhouse. Welcome, Coach Jerry Lott.
Thanks, Mike. Only one wizard, and that's my wife. All right, I'm here to introduce our next inductee. And I told Kristi the other day, she probably should have gotten one of her other coaches to do this, because some of those other coaches probably don't know all the bad stuff. Coach Sharon Smith and Delise Tigg are both here. They were both assistant coaches when Kristi was playing, and they also coached her in softball and volleyball, and so she probably should have gotten one of those to do this. But then when I got to thinking about the bad stuff, I really couldn't think of very many bad things during her high school and college years. Which is unusual, for most teenagers. That's the time when they're all about brain dead anyway. But for Kristi, she was pretty much on top of things, even in high school. In high school, she played basketball for 4 years, from 1991 to 95. We had some really good teams. We were district champs 3 years in a row. We had an overall record of 114 and 17, I think, during those 4 years. We played in the state tournament 2 years, the sub-state 3 years. We had 3 straight years where we won 29 games, and then our senior year we were down a little bit. I think we won 27 that year. So So she had a very good high school career, and our teams were very good those years. She averaged 13 points, 5 assists, 3 steals, and 4 rebounds her senior year. She was named to the All-District, the All-Tournament, All-Region, and also All-State honorable mention her senior year. She also played softball for Inductees. She batted .362, scored 16 runs. She was named All-District and All-District Tournament her senior year. And she also played volleyball for Coach Sharon Smith, and she was All-District during her senior year in volleyball. And she also found time somehow to run cross country, and she finished in the top 10 in the best of the West her senior year, and she was named Jackson Sun's Female Athlete of the Year in 1994-95, and she was the only McNairy Central athlete to letter it in 4 sports. She was also named to Tennessee Coach's Class AA Scholar Athlete of the Year. She graduated high school with a 3.6 GPA, and she was also named to McNairy Central Hall of Fame her senior year. But then, and after graduation, she signed, played basketball at Martin Methodist College in Pulaski, along with her cousin Holly Smith. That they went together to Martin Methodist. She also played softball up there. But after her freshman year, she transferred to Lambeth, primarily because Lambeth had a physical therapy program and athletic training program that she wanted to do, and she also played basketball. At Lambeth, she started 3 years, helped them to a 26-9 record her senior year, and also their first NAIA national tournament appearance in 1999. She also helped them win their first national tournament game with a 40-foot shot at the buzzer against North Georgia in the national tournament. And then the Jackson Sun, the next day, their headline was the Lott shot. So that was kind of her claim to fame, I guess, in college. But she averaged 7 points, 3 assists, and made 80% of her free throws her senior year. She was Lambeth's Sportsmanship Award winner that year. She was also honorable mention All-Conference as a senior. She was also on the academic All-Conference team, and she was 2-time NAIA Academic All-American. But Kristi has she's always given 100% at whatever she did, whatever she does. And you know, in athletics, she was not the fastest or the biggest or the strongest. She just always outworked everybody else. And that's why she was so successful in athletics and also in her academics. And like some other speakers have talked about, it's hard to play for your dad. And I know she probably heard some coaching at home, but on the other hand, her mother was always there to referee at home too. So it was always a pretty even field at home too. Of course, Linda and I are obviously proud of her academic and athletic awards, but we're even more proud of the outstanding person that she's become. So our next inductee, Kristi Lott Davidson.
And honored to be standing in front of you accepting this award. Thank you to the Hall of Fame Committee for making this award and event possible. This is a great celebration of Bobcat tradition, pride, and the pursuit of excellence at McNairy Central High School. My initial thought was that my dad should be receiving this award prior to me, but because of the bylaws of the committee, an active employee can't be elected. But it's now I'm convinced that it's actually my mom that should be in the Hall of Fame for being a faithful coach's wife for over 38 years. My mom was the early version of an athletic trainer before there was such a profession. Her purse doubled as a trainer's kit, packed with scissors, Band-Aids, tape, and always a pack of gum, and it's probably been in every high school gym in West Tennessee. Before there was such a thing as travel ball, she would transport me from Parsons Riverside softball game to basketball practice at Jackson, all on a school night. She was definitely a good buffer between the parent and the coach-daughter relationship. And after having 2 children of my own, I really appreciate all her sacrifices that she gave for my brother and myself. So thanks, Mama. I've been very fortunate to be surrounded by supportive family members, friends, and teachers along the way. My grandparents have supported me and even traveled to Cincinnati, Ohio to watch me play basketball. I'm not sure they missed a high school sport that I played. I had amazing coaches that encouraged me and challenged me, and some of them include Coach Delise Tig and Coach Sharon Smith. Teachers at McNairy Central prepared me for my journey ahead to Martin Methodist and to Lambeth and on to a master's degree at UT Health Science Center for physical therapy. Some of my teachers that stand out to me are Miss Delise Tig, Miss Janet Thomas, Miss Denise Brown, Miss Vicki Flowers, and Miss Mary Jane Wiles. Jeff York has been a lifelong friend, and I have always valued his brutal honesty. He's an inspiration to me, and he was quick to acknowledge that this award was not based upon pure physical, God-given athletic ability. Since junior high basketball, I've heard the phrase that I'm slow like my mama. I'm not sure who started this, but I'm pretty sure it was not my mom. I know that there are numerous players that have walked these halls that deserve this honor as well. In playing 4 sports in high school, I never considered myself a standout on any of the teams. I just played the sport that was in season. I never possessed the quickness or jumping ability of a Fred White, or the shooting ability of Mike Walker, or the power and strength of John Fennelson. The teams I played on, we just found a way to be successful. Over the course of my 4 years, I played with some amazing athletes. Those 4 years were some of the most successful times in Lady Bobcat history. And I had calculated 100 wins to 11 losses. But some of those outstanding players that I played with were Holly Smith-Stroud, Natalie Smith, Coach Melody Price, Carrie Whitten-Hughes, Shelley Surratt-Wynn, Robin Ayers-Arnwine, Brandy Brown-Curtis, and Natasha Brown. I think that's why we were so successful, because we had so many good players during my 4-year span. My senior year in 1995, we lost in the semifinal region game to Martin Westview. Our season was definitely cut short that year. Our record was 27-2, with one of those 2 losses just coming at the wrong time. How many people can say that they have lifelong friends that support and encourage them in different stages of life? Stacy Stackhouse Jackson has been a friend for over 21 years and filled the role of big sister, biggest fan, encourager, counselor at times, and best friend. Jennifer Brush Nelson is also another lifelong friend that I'm forever grateful for. Everyone always asks me if it was difficult to play for my dad in high school. And I always say yes. It was. But it was not impossible. He was my coach early on from junior pro, before it was in front of the high school spotlight. He was my best critic and biggest fan at the same time. He wouldn't always let me win either. I can remember some heated volleyball games at the river, some Uno card games, and Chinese checkers. I think that definitely sparked my competitive drive along the way, along with playing 21, Make It, Take It, Don't Call a Foul, or You're a CC with my brother Kevin in the driveway. My dad and I would watch film together too, and reluctantly at the time. It would seem like he would show me my mistake at least 5 times. But that definitely made me a student of the game and a smarter player. There's 3 things that I want to pass on that make a successful player in any sport. Number 1, be coachable. Listen to what coaches and teachers are trying to teach you. There's a reason why you practice fundamentals and do the same drills repetitively. Work diligently at learning a new task. You can't just show up and expect to get better. You have to put in the time and effort into getting it down and being successful, or at least I had to. I bet they're still jumping over broomsticks in that gym. Do y'all still have weighted jump ropes? Those were some of the hardest things. Number 2, be a good teammate. This reflects life after basketball or any sport. The UCLA Bruins coach John Wooden once said, the main ingredient in stardom is the rest of the team. In a world of self-proclamation and satisfaction and selfie photos, team sports focus on team results. That's why we were so successful. I'm sure we all heard that there's no I in team. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not all about you. Kids will function better in society if they learn this early on. It makes you a better teammate, a better spouse, a better employee, a better parent if you will love thy neighbor as yourself. Number 3, do the little things right. This makes the big things easier in the long run. Every day in my profession, I have to teach someone how to move correctly after an injury or a surgery in order to prevent compensation from other muscles. In basketball, setting a good screen for a teammate and blocking out to get the rebound creates opportunities to score or regain possession of the ball. If you do the little things right in order to capitalize on large gains. In high school, I envisioned myself being a physical therapist and athletic trainer. Today, I stand before you living out my dream right here in McNairy County because that's exactly what I do. It took me a long time to realize that it wasn't just my plan, but it was God's plan for my life. One of my favorite verses is Jeremiah 29:11, which states, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future." I am thankful for my supportive husband, Brandon, and his family that have welcomed me in as their own, and for our healthy and rambunctious children, Lindley and Landon. Parenthood definitely changes you, and I was just as excited about this award as I was of Lindley getting Student of the Month. So it just changes your whole perspective. And I'd like to leave you with this one clip. This may be the only Hall of Fame acceptance speech that I get to give. But while I was at Lambeth in 1999, before the days of YouTube and before the days of high-definition TV, we made it to the first round of the NAIA National Tournament. It was the first time in school's history that we actually made it to the national tournament. And with 10 seconds left to go in the game, my teammate LaToya Lake made a 3-point play, which put us ahead 75-74. North Georgia drove the length of the court and made a layup, and she was fouled. So she made the free throw, and it put them ahead 77-75. And with 2 seconds left, this is what happened. Can you see it? Oh, that's the start of it.
It's muted. Unmuted.
It's not.
That's the start of the game. I don't think you want to see that whole thing.
It'll be on this side.
Oh, okay.
But you got to unmute the sound.
There it is.
It's not muted, it's just not hooked up to the sound system.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
you should hear it over the computer.
Well, I mean, that was the playback. We're down by 2. 2 seconds left to go. She just hit a free throw. So we're going to... We're going to throw it in after she makes this free throw. We were kind of in the timeout. I remember talking about she's probably going to miss it, so you're having to fumble around to get the rebound and eat up some clock, but she actually made it. Can you back up a bit? But that's crazy. It's crazy that I barely remember that 2 seconds, which happened 15 years ago. Instead of that last second lot shot being my quote unquote legacy, I want to be remembered for this, that I'm someone who loves the Lord, my love for my husband and our life, my desire to follow near to my parents' footsteps with raising our children, and my dedication to providing a meaningful service to my hometown community. Thank you so much for this honor.
Our next presenter is Wayne Maxedon. Wayne coached at Selma Middle School from 1980 until 1984, and then again from 1990 until 2012. He has coached basketball for 31 years and has coached football for many years. Under the leadership of Coach Maxedon, the Selma Middle School Lions won the TNT State Tournament in 2000. Coach Maxedon has led the Lions to 12 county championships in basketball and 15 county championships in football. Wayne still teaches physical education at Selma Middle School. Give a warm welcome to Coach Wayne Maxedon.
Another 2 or 3 things. I know what a junior high coach is. Actually, I did teach at McNairy Central, but they sent me down to junior high because I wasn't doing very good. But I know why they did that. So the high school coaches can blame everything on junior high coaches. Now, Brian, he had a little problem with that. He left from here and went to high school, so the only person he could blame was himself. But, you know, I've enjoyed all my years in education here at McNairy County. It's fantastic to come here and see all of you tonight. See a lot of old players and a lot of the things that they stood for, you realize when you see them sitting out there in the audience. I've given up coaching for 2 grandkids, basically. So I have 2 young boys that are grandchildren, and they don't live real close, but I still get to see them once in a while. My job here tonight is to recognize Mike Walker into the McNairy County Hall of Fame. And deservedly so. Mike has, we had a special working relationship from the time he started. He actually started in 6th grade. And Walker family has meant so much to McNairy County and athletics in McNairy County. The 3 years, or actually I guess you played 4 years in middle school, didn't you, Mike? I kept him. I held him 1 year. But now Even though we held Dad Leroy, I had to go talk to him about that. But Mike, he is having a little bit of grade trouble. You know, and y'all think maybe I didn't motivate my players for grade. We went in the bathroom after every night, 6 weeks at that time, and we had a board talk. But I don't think Mike ever had but one. And there was 2 or 3 others. But I'm going to say that I never, ever saw a young man with as much dedication and the desire and the fire and burning in his eyes to love a game that he played. And you don't see a lot of that these days. But I saw it in him. And Jeff York, when I called him today, I said, I'm trying to get some staff. And Jeff says, well, 2 things. He must not talk to some of y'all because he told me to be brief. So I may have talked to Jerry, but I'm not sure he talked to somebody else. But Jerry was pretty brief. Of course, I thought they were going to put Linda in the Hall of Fame. But, yeah, Jeff is an amazing person, and you were right, Kristi. He'll tell you exactly what he thinks, whether you like it or whether you don't like it. There's not much you can do but listen. And most of the time it's true. He's very blunt, he's very honest. And you know, I'm a lot like that myself sometimes. But there's a difference in us. And I coach, and that's not too good sometimes. I learned over the years that I try to be a little bit more, I'm not likable maybe, but I try to work with people a little bit more. And I work my players hard. Didn't I, John? All right, we ran a lot. I don't know about working hard. We ran a lot. The only thing John ever says to me still, and I'm sure Mike would say the same thing, I'm sure Kenny would say it, and didn't any of them like it. But we did, we stayed in shape. That's one thing we did. I didn't know much about basketball when I started coaching. A lot of people don't think I know much about it now. But after all the years, we were mostly in shape. And when I first started coaching, I knew that one thing we had to do. If you couldn't get up and down the floor on the basketball court, you couldn't play the game. So that's kind of where we started from. And we all got educated in the process about the game. But yes, academics are very important to everybody, all our student athletes. And you know, we've had some people that have reached areas that I thought they would not go to. They challenged. I know Mike, I think you played 2 years at Boonville, him and Glenn Davis. When that first came out, I didn't think they'd do that, but they did. And that was amazing to me. And since then, I've heard that there's been, you know, they've done better at things about their athletics, not athletics as much as they have about their academics. But let me give you a little bit of history about Mike. In 3 years, or 4 years, he was in junior high. First year I coached, we were 4-9. The next 3 years after that, we were 64-3. Brian coached one of those years in junior high while he was a 6th grader. He was 18-0. Kenny played on that team. The 7th grade year, they were 27-3. I kind of used the system that year. We played in a lot of tournaments. We lost 3 games by 4 points. Lost to Coffee Junior High, Murfreesboro Middle School, and can't remember who was the other game lost to that year. Oh, yeah, Clarksburg. And we lost to them by 1 here. And we beat them 2 up there, and he had 40. His 7th grade year, 40 points, Clarksburg. Joe Van Wooten was coaching that team, by the way. So those were, I think Brian was 19-0 the year he coached. Mike in 8th grade, 7th grade, we were 27-3, and then in the 6th grade year, we were like 18-0. Pretty amazing record for those group of kids. And I know Mike as much as me. Think about Kenny every day. And the leadership, and really, more than anything, the effect he had on him. I don't think that I had near as much effect on Mike Walker as Kenny Walker had on me. Because he knew if the game got tight, Mike better throw him the ball. And that's the way it was. And Mike took from that, I think, and when he moved on up, I think he took those situations on his shoulder because Kenny did the same thing. But yes, he was an amazing young man. The only person to hold, I think Mike ended up scoring 1,940 something, 48 points. And the only person ahead of him was Neil Walker, who had around 2,500 points. Mike has the high point total for high school here. At the time he graduated was 43 points against Memphis Central. I think there's 44 now, and I believe that's held maybe by Sean Paul. That's correct, right? Believe that. But at the time he graduated, 43 points. He was all district tournament for 3 years, all region 1 year, and led his team to 2 sub-state appearances. I can't say enough about the relationship we had. It got to the point, yes, I yelled a lot, and I did holler a lot at Mike. It didn't bother him a bit. Oh, it might have, but he wanted to play so bad, he ignored it. He got the gist of the thing, but the thing about that, by the time third year he played for me, I didn't have to holler at Mike anymore. And he could tell by my expression, he's fixing to get hollered at. So he picked up on things. He was very smart about picking up and how not to get hollered at. And he get out there and do the work without me having to say much. It was kind of, he grew. But I never, know a lot of kids you can't do that with. But he one that didn't bother me. And again, I think he wanted to play so bad. And the fire in his eyes, I never saw like that in anyone I ever coached. So I think he's absolutely earned this privilege, and I'm privileged that he asked me to do this. Not many junior high coaches get to do this. And I appreciate it, Mike, and I appreciate your family over the years and all they've meant to McNairy County. Thank you.
Well, it's good to be back here. It's been a long time. And first of all, I want to thank my lovely wife and the entertainment I gave y'all, my little girl. And another thing I want to thank is my 2 aunts. They're sitting here, Laverne and Dorothy. I would like them to stand up, like you said. They was there in every game. If my grandparents couldn't make it there, they was there. Whatever we needed, my grandparents could get it for me. They did get it for us. And they always support. They still there. They still treat us like he's 16, 18 years old. And Leroy Walker, and he was always there. He only did miss a game. And my grandmama, she always listened to the radio. We had to make sure the radio was on before she left, had that program. And Wayne Maxedon, I think you forgot, 1 year we was at the old junior high. We had a Pee Wee team. We only had like 2 games. You remember that? What's that? And Pee Wee? Is it, oh, yeah, and I guess why he didn't say it because it's illegal because he took us to the game. And yeah, Wayne Maxedon, he was a real good coach. He had a good advantage because he knew my parents, so And that made me work even harder. And my fans, I love my fans. Real good fans. I met Stacy. He's my coach before I get here every night, before every game. So tonight is the first one I talked to tonight. Stacy. And I ran to Mr. Thomas again. He's always squeezed my hand before every game. First thing he said, can you still shoot that three? So, I haven't won for 4 years here. And my fans, y'all been wonderful. I think, I started, like you said, I started as a freshman. I came into an organization it was a winning organization. And then, as a freshman, I remember it was time for me to, I know Dirk Marshall probably remember it was time for me to go take my physical. It was Dr. Bud. Everybody knows Dr. Bud. So my blood pressure was up. I was nervous because I didn't know I was getting moved up. You know, it was always hearsay. And then I went in there and said my blood pressure was up. And Dr. Bud said, I don't care who you are, who you know, Walker, whoever it is, you're not playing ball until your blood pressure goes up. So I went back out and stood for a little while. Then I went back in. My nerves calmed down a little bit. So then I started playing. And Dirk Marston is here. He's a good friend of mine. After my cousin Kenny passed away, that was hard because, you know, we always had dreams to go to state, bring the state here because the state had never have been here. And when Kenny did pass away, Dirk was one was there. He stepped in. You know, he got it. He knew what I was going through. And I sure do appreciate that. I'm glad to see him here tonight because I needed that because, like Wayne Maxedon said, every year, like when I started playing, I was in the 6th grade, they threw me with 8th graders. Like 3 years older than me, I'm like, good gracious. So it was a lot of pressure, you know, on you, you know, stepping in and trying to fill these shoes of all the people that had left us, that had just been here before us. And then after Kenny passed, and it was really rough, and like I said, Dirk Marshall stepped in. And then I said to myself at home, here I am again, taking over a team again. So it was hard, but it was fun. I tried my best to get us there, and we just didn't get it. But I'm hoping. Well, my brothers, they came, and I didn't really talk to them. They tried their best to get there too. And Brian Brown, I heard you back, right? You back in. Okay, so now we should get a state championship here.
Only if we have another Mike Walker.
And Brian Brown, you know, he stepped in and he knew the Cowboys, you know, what all we expected, what fans expected. And y'all expected a whole lot of us. So we tried our best to entertain y'all. I think he did that. I hope he did. 4 years here. And Coach Horton, wonderful man. I miss him. I was here in town that night, but I didn't, when inducted my Uncle Neil in the Hall of Fame, but I didn't get to make it. But I got a story about he's about the only coach I ever seen who come in the gym. It was after practice. He'll come in and get half court. See that ball down there? He would get the ball, stand there, and do a hook shot, and make it. I look at him. I said, you can't do that again. He sit there and laugh for a minute. He would get the ball, half court, hook shot, make it again. Then he'll turn around and look at him. We'll see you later. And walk out. Yeah, Coach Horton, I really am going to miss him. He's, like you said, he really was, instead of basketball, he was talking to you like he was one of his kids. He always pulled him to the side. He knew what he was going to put me in with, I'm going to say some of the names, Stanley Creighton, and all of them rumors, some rough guys back in those days. And me as a freshman to play with. And all I have to say is that I love playing ball here. I love coming back here. I wish they would throw some more Booster Club games, alumni games before we get too old and can't play. I think I came back to one. I think I had 2 other ones after that. Me and Dirk was talking about it. I don't know who's over there committed. But I want to thank all my fans, my family, my new family, my old friends. Kevin White, he's here. He's a Wrangler Eagle. And another person I want to mention before I get off here is Mr. White. He's gonna be dearly missed. And that's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna leave it there before I get too emotional. I want to thank all of y'all.